What's going on, everybody? I'm King Sway, and today we have Idle Hands from 1999 from the Kill Count. Uh, if you watched the earlier one with season two, part two of the Stranger Things video, I did say I was going to do this one alone. I actually watched Idle Hands. There's a boob shot in it. Look, there are certain things you just don't subject your kids to. So, Princess Sway is not with me on this one. I'm gonna do this one on my own.
Happy Halloween and welcome to the Kill
Oh yeah,
Count,
happy Halloween.
we tally
Again.
all the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Idle Hands, released in 1999. Idle Hands is a horror movie in stoner comedy form, starring a bunch of late 90s icons, including your boy Devon Sawa. I actually have a very personal connection to this movie. When I was nearly 10 years old, I won free tickets to an Idle Hands screening from the radio
Final
station
Destination.
89X. My dad went with me, and we got free shirts and soundtracks, and then my 9-year-old ass watched a severed hand feel up a topless chick. I had a weird childhood, y'all. Revisiting the movie as an old man, I have mixed feelings towards
Jessica
it. I
Alba.
love the gore and stoner comedy parts from Sawa and Seth Green. It's got a fun Halloween setting, complemented by a great use of color. And the soundtrack is awesome. I think the main music should be remembered as an all-time great horror theme.
Cassettes and CDs and whatnot. I remember those.
But being a stoner comedy, it feels sluggish in a lot of the earlier scenes. And worst of all, it's got one of the most shoehorned, unlikely romantic subplots I have ever seen. I mean, it is just egregious, man. Still, this is an excellent movie for Halloween, especially since it was filmed in Pasadena, the same neighborhood as John Carpenter's Halloween. I think it's the perfect punctuation to this month's wild 14 kill count release schedule. So let's count some kills. The movie begins at a festive Halloween home in Bowling, California, where Mr. and Mrs. Tobias are settling in for bed. Nighty-night, don't let the ceiling fry. Aw, you let the ceiling fry. Mr. Tobias, the late great Fred Willard, thinks it's just a prank by their stoner son Anton, though Mrs. Tobias, Connie Ray, has more faith in her boy.
Our little Scooter would never do something like that.
We're calling him that baby name. Anton would not scoot his behind off the couch if the house was on fire.
A noise downstairs lures Mr. Tobias away, but as Connie Ray is petting a good actor kitty, she hears the sound of a crash followed by a scream. Mrs. Tobias goes to call 911, but gets pulled under the bed and splatted. See? Splat. Don't try to say you weren't warned, lady. The next afternoon, Anton Tobias wakes up to Peppy Rock and comes down from his attic bedroom to get straight to work. He's got a long day ahead of Magoo watching, ball scratching, and weed toking. His wake and bakery runs out of bread, so, foregoing his pants, Anton walks across the street and climbs through the basement window of his bud Penub.
I can't say anything about that because Gabe, act like we ain't do the same thing. I'm not talking about getting high and token. I'm just talking about walking over to your friend's house, just going through the basement.
Didn't say what.
Just
Instead, he and Mick, Seth Green, tell Anton he should consider doing a little bit more with his life. For instance, maybe finally talking to his crush Molly, who's played by a 17-year-old Jessica Alba and who's lived across the street from him forever.
You can start by telling her your name.
He sees that she dropped her lyrics book in the street, so he borrows some pants and heads out to play the hero, not seeing that Penub was being mendacious about his supply. Let's get this place foggy! Anton huffs that nylon book cover and sneaks a peek inside, then returns it to Molly in the most awkward way possible and walks away.
pretty much
looking
shoves
like
her down. Shit.
After an encounter in a smoky alleyway with a couple of cops who give him shit, one of them played by Sean Whalen, who we just saw in 3 from Hell, and before that, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Anton returns home. Lacking weed, this little giant tries smoking a mix of nutmeg and oregano, as the very flesh-filled music video for 2's I Am a Pig plays. The herbs are a poor substitute for the herb, but at least he's still got titties on the screen while he gets to making lunch. Anton loved the titties. Though his kitchen knife is bloody, he doesn't realize it until he's already nomming on that evidence sandwich. His cat Bones is having fun with the crime site too, playing with the bloody eyeball. Even with his adorable dog Dookie protecting him, Anton still gets scared by
Let's
a
push
silhouette
the dog and
which
yeah.
is actually director Rodman Flender in a cameo. If that very specific name sounds familiar, it's because Flender directed Leprechaun 2, meaning he gave us this moment in cinematic history. Running scared, Anton trips and falls into some pumpkin-headed figures that end up being his parents' corpses. His mom, missing an eyeball, and his dad, now confirmed dead. The discovery is understandably upsetting, and when Mick and Penub show up at his house, Anton shares the distressing development with them. Penub doesn't exactly make it better.
What the fuck are you doing, man? That's my dad. Come on.
The Burnouts begin to try to figure things out,
A clue.
but it might be hard when they're not the best at interpreting evidence.
Ant? They were killed by ants? Please don't be stupid. Do you have, like, an evil ant?
Together, though, they're able to piece something together.
The killer was wearing your shirt.
The killer was wearing me. I'm the killer.
Mick goes to call 911, but Anton rips the cord out of the wall by hand, even
Just-
while claiming he's not a killer. I don't know, dude. You're acting pretty killery to me. And that's a straight-up meltdown. You are a killer, dude. Look how killed Mick is. Anton is shocked by his own actions and pledges to Penub that he didn't mean to do it. Looks more like his hand is acting on its own. And after it chases Penub into the basement and breaks through the door to get in, the hand forces Anton down the stairs and throws a saw blade at Penub, decapitating the red-headed friend, his double-sided red head bouncing down to Anton's feet.
Cool.
A bewildered Anton has a battle with his right hand over who gets to pick the TV programming. And I'm honestly impressed by Devon Sawa's possessed hand acting. Not since Bruce Campbell has an actor played this well against his own hand. The hand
I
ends
don't
up
know
throwing
many that
buttons
actually
out of the
have,
window.
other than
When
these
Anton
two right
goes to
here.
Look for the cat, his hand takes him onto Molly's porch and rings the doorbell for him. Molly, who, again, is played by a 17-year-old, answers the door looking like a high school boy's fantasy. Despite the fact that there's an
Fantasy, wet dream, same thing.
who's never introduced himself to her, rummaging around her porch, she somehow finds it endearing?
Sorry about your bush.
Oh boy. Yep, this storyline is bunk nonsense, with Molly inexplicably and pathetically into Anton, to the point of immediately inviting him inside to her bedroom.
Yeah,
Like,
to her
I get
bedroom.
that he returned her lyrics for her, but the dude's hand grabs onto her ass like it's quality testing a stress ball, and she just laughs it off.
I'm impressed. I never would have thought you'd have the balls to just grab me like that.
That's not.
I've
a real
grabbed my
person
fair share of
with a sex
asses.
problem. I was actually kind of shocked to see that the screenplay was co-written by a woman, Terry.
You see how many kids I got?
I think the female lead would be more of a.
If they ain't into it, they ain't into it. But it's not gonna happen like that. You get what I'm saying?
Hook up with Molly,
You're kiki.
but their makeout sesh stops when her parents get home and he has to book it. Aw, before they got to listen to Jane's Addiction together? Maybe they can start tomorrow. He heads home and in a scene with colorful, Giallo-inspired lighting, buries his parents and friends in the backyard. I've got my issues with this movie, but it's got a fun atmosphere, and it seems like a lot of the cast had a good time working under Flender, a Roger Corman protege who added a lot more horror and gore to the script written by Terry Burton and Ron Milbauer. No sooner has Anton finished eulogizing about pot smoking than he hears moaning coming from beneath the dirt. Hands punch out and grab at him, because we in the zombie portion of this film, motherfuckers. And it don't matter if they're missing heads. They all zombies here, Anton. Eat a shovel. Anton passes out and wakes up back in his bedroom, but he quickly discovers that that wasn't just a dream when he finds his reanimated friends hanging out on his couch and eating cheesy poops. I love how Penub's head is laying sideways on that chair. It'd be so much easier to have it upright with Eldon Henson popping out from a hole. This movie has great practical effects all around, with a makeup team that included Greg Canham, who's won 4 Best Makeup Oscars, the latest just last year for Vice. Mick and Penub apologize for knocking Anton out, though in fairness, he did kill them, and explain why they're back in the land of the living. There was a bright light at the end of a tunnel, but they decided not to go into it.
I figured, fuck it. I mean, it was really far.
The hand problem makes itself apparent.
Stoner
with
comedy.
Anton figuring that it must be possessed. Mick and Penub don't know anything about the devil, but they say their neighbor Randy might because he's really into metal. I mean, he is wearing a Quiet Riot shirt in 1999, so clearly that's his fucking lifestyle. Though Randy doesn't want to give him the time of day, Anton insists on speaking to him. So he disguises himself as a Burger Jungle employee and flips over a tray held by, I think, Kyle Gass. I mean, he's in the movie's credits, and I don't see anyone else in this scene who looks like him. But did Rage Cage have that much hair in 1999? Anton heads into the back, despite all the dangers abound, and relieves a drive-thru employee played by Tom DeLonge in a cameo.
Break time.
All right.
Yeah.
Work sucks. He knows. Grabbing hold of the
Work
drive-thru mic,
sucks.
Anton reaches
I
out to
know.
Randy through the speaker.
Say it ain't so.
Randy says he doesn't know shit about the devil. He's just into metal music.
Yeah, I know that
Anton
song.
really
I listen to
does
all
have
kinds of
his
stuff.
best hand, like he says he does. Maybe he just needs to quit being a layabout and find a way to keep himself occupied.
Idle hands are the devil's playground.
Anton tries knitting to keep himself busy, despite the ribbing it gives him from his undead pals. But he's playing Rob Zombie's Dracula a bit too loud there, causing those two cops from earlier to be called to his house. They see him inside with his dead best friends and bust through the door, hoping to arrest him and gain glory. Anton's actually into the idea of getting arrested, just so he won't hurt anyone else, but his hand doesn't
I
work
know what's
right.
coming. Yep.
It uses a sewing needle to stab Officer Ruck through the head, then grabs a taser and uses it to shoot Officer McMacy in the McFace.
Right in the
charge goes off
face.
until the dude's face is smoking, and they both fall to the floor dead.
Go, go, Buffalo!
Unlike his friends, Anton is upset that he's killed again, so he decides that the only way forward is to sever his hand from his body. When a plastic bagel cutter fails to do the trick, he asks Mick to grab an electric carver for him.
Oh, look at me! I'm Leatherface!
I'm
And
Leatherface.
that line has been stuck in my brain.
And if you know, yeah, I was about to say, if you look in the background, he's got the carver.
And though the hand is defensive at first, Penub helps steady the shot so he can finally sever it. Mission accomplished! And a very proud-looking Mick. Seriously, he looks so happy.
I got it, cuz.
Knows how
I
to
got
stop
it.
the bleeding, too. Mick and Penub leave to grab a first aid kit from across the street, and while they're gone, Anton learns that it may have been a mistake to cut his hand free like that.
It
He
says
had a
bad move,
drops down
but
the
what he
face
really
on
meant was,
Anton.
bitch move,
He able to
cuz.
get it off and pop it into the microwave, where he hits the hand button and watches that thing bubble. Oh boy, his fingers start spraying hot blood? That is gross, man. Hot blood. The hand gets done cooking just in time for Molly to show up, wanting to go to the high school's Halloween dance. Scared of her seeing his zombie friends, Anton pulls her away from the house to tell her that he can't go to the dance right now.
Well, if it's Halloween, they're zombies.
You wouldn't stand
It's a
there,
costume.
would you?
Not a chance, baby snakes.
Ugh, why are they using baby snakes as a pet name? Molly said it earlier, too.
We'll have to pick this up later, baby snakes.
Maybe they're just huge Zappa fans? Mick and Penub return while Anton is outside, and after Mick fixes Penub's head problem with a big old barbecue fork, they decide to make some burritos, even if the microwave's a little bloody right now.
Maybe we should clean it first. Hey, yeah! And while we're at it, we can clean the whole fucking house.
They open the microwave and the hand flies free, and though they're more concerned about pooping burritos out their neck holes, Anton is rightly pissed that they let the hand go. Now, throughout this whole movie, Vivica A. Fox has been running around as Debbie LeCure, a woman tracking serial murders and finding people with shriveled up hands along the way. She sees that Anton's town of Bowling, California is the next place for her to check out, then draws a very ill-fitting pentagram over all her murder hotspots. That's looking pretty forced there, Debbie. 1 to 3 of those X's aren't really fitting your motto. She winds up at the bowling alley, where many suspicious hands are twiddling about. Randy sees and hits on her, and over a drink, she tells him her story.
I come from a long line of Druidic priestesses sworn to fight a certain evil force that possesses the laziest fuck-up it can find.
Well, what do you know? Randy
Oh,
goes
snap.
super
I know a
big
dude
fuck
just
up,
like
mentioned
that.
his hand was acting super fucked up. Debbie grabs him by his collar and throws him into her
Don't
air
fucking
chute
with me,
so they
cuz.
can go hunt down Anton. As Mick and Penub watch Dawn of the Dead, Anton sees a message from the hand threatening Molly's life. For once, he's found something more important than smoking weed. And as Zebrahead's Mind Trip plays from their great self-titled debut album, surpassed only by Waste of Mind, the three of them head out to save the shallow love interest. They decide to steal Randy's truck, since he does keep his keys in the movie plot pocket. Of
Nobody
his
does
and
that.
with Mick shifting
Nobody.
gears for him, Anton drives that monster to the dance. The hand is already at the dance, outside in the parking lot, where a couple of Kiss Army soldiers kiss arms and shoulders.
This is the
And
part I
love
didn't want
other
Princess Sway
bodyguards as
seeing.
well. And let me tell you that 9-year-old James felt pretty damn awkward sitting next to his dad as Kelly Monaco took her shirt
See?
off and got groped by a severed hand. The hand grabs her by the throat and squeezes until her neck breaks, then kills her boyfriend Curtis off screen with a head slam and another big old
And I'm not
smack.
explaining that.
See? Splat. Anton and his pals find the body shortly after, letting them know for sure that the Hand is at this dance. And why wouldn't it want to be? Friggin' Offspring is playing live! Rodman Flender is a big punk fan, and when he couldn't get the Ramones, he settled on the Offspring doing a Ramones cover. Seems like a hell of a party, even if the costumes clearly came from the cleared for copyright bins at the movie studio. Though I do spot a Bill Clinton there. Oh, 90s. Molly's with a friend named Tanya, a devil lady played by Katie Wright, who's now been married to Hank Azaria since 2007. Also, the guy who plays Randy is her
Homer
half-brother,
Simpson.
Jack
Homer
Nicholson.
Simpson.
I gotta like that guy, or I too. Pretty noseworthy. In a bit of a non sequitur scene, the evil Hand creeps into an office where the school principal, played by Timothy Stack, is on a phone sex hotline. The Hand tears through his dick,
1-900.
kills him off screen, and
Easy
Anton
stuff.
finds the dead son of the beach later, bloody and dead horny. To ready itself for the final act, the Hand sharpens its fingers in a pencil sharpener in a memorable and very awesome shot.
1-800.
Shows off this exquisite hand acting.
1-900.
Played by Christopher Hart, a magician who worked at the Magic Castle in LA and at one point with David Copperfield. His body was removed in post-production, and his hand was covered in prosthetic makeup that took an hour and a half for makeup artist Todd Tucker to apply. Hart also played Thing in all 3 live-action Addams Family films, though he made sure to give the idle Hand's hand a different personality.
Thing was more expressive and fun. If he was excited, you hop up like a little puppy dog. If he was nervous, he'd quiver.
I told Chris this hand has got to be entirely different. This hand has got to be a mean killing machine. This is the Terminator of severed hands.
Oh, and I know that some places on the internet list Robert Englund as the voice of the Hand, but the Hand never makes any noises, and England's not listed in the movie's credits, so, I call bullshit. Randy and Debbie get to the dance, knowing Anton must be there since Randy's truck is parked outside. They find him in the hallways, and Debbie tells him she knows how to fix his evil hand. Die! Anton asks her to please not kill him, because it's not part of Death's design. And also, he's no longer a host, having severed his evil
It's
hand.
not part of Death's design.
A mistake.
She says
Final
the Hand
Destination.
wants to take a soul to hell by midnight druid time, which is in 6 minutes. And what better soul to take than that of an empty shell of a character? Anton very rudely interrupts Dexter.
Move, bitch, get out the way. You heard what Ludacris said.
Hand afoot. Their jeers of disbelief turn into trash tossing and shoving, but he's proven right when the Hand scalps Dexter Holland. Oh no! Come on, Hand. That guy has a PhD in molecular biology. Also, apparently that kill was done practically using a prosthetic.
The actual pulling of the appliance, that's makeup. That's an appliance, and we could really only do it once. We didn't even have time to do it twice.
Hard to believe that's a prosthetic forehead on his real head.
Yeah.
Pandemonium erupts, and I'll go ahead and count the 5 people who are crushed when the Hand cuts down a light beam that falls on top of them. It's an intentional stunt there, so I think they're intended as kills. Tanya leads Molly to an air duct so they can chopping maul their way out of this stampede, not knowing that the Hand is crawling in after them. Though they find their path blocked by a ceiling fan, Molly takes some action for the first and only time in this movie and uses Tanya's devil heel to block that blade up.
Why do I?
She's able to
Yeah,
get
no,
herself
it ain't.
past the
No,
potential danger,
no.
But before Tanya can join her, the Hand shows up and ties her up somehow, then drops her down to be hanged.
Yank.
Not hanged, chopped up after it removes the heel. It's a pretty inventive death, and even though it's done off screen, I still like it. I don't like how Molly is cheaply captured though. The abruptness of that action is because it's the beginning of a new ending that came from reshoots after test screenings. The movie's original finale was a giant expensive thing that involved a swimming pool, a gate to hell, and a whole bunch of hands coming out of the walls. Everyone decided that it didn't match the rest of the movie's tone, so they reshot an ending that would be a bit funnier. It was these
Ow, my
reshoots that
ass.
delayed
No,
the
seriously,
movie's
you
release,
guys, my
which was
ass.
originally scheduled, very appropriately, for Halloween in 1998. Instead, it got pushed to late April in 1999, which caused it to get caught up in the post-Columbine media frenzy.
Yeah, I remember that.
About 10 days after the massacre.
No bueno.
In fact, Idle Hands was called out by name by none other than the public option killing Joe Lieberman, who the very next year would run unsuccessfully for vice president under Al Gore.
This self-regulation, self-control by the entertainment industry would be for Sony to pull back a new movie that I gather it's set to release this week called Idle Hands. By all reports, another grossly violent film targeted at teens that uses killing as a form of comic relief.
Molly ends up tied to the roof of a car on a lift, and if that wasn't damsel in distressy enough, Anton has to Padme her outfit and leave her in her underwear for the rest of the film. The Hand, meanwhile, is wearing a stupid fucking puppet and raises the car
why?
towards a pentagram on the ceiling. Since the new ending was meant to lean into the stoner comedy element, it should be no surprise that weed saves the day.
It's Mighty Joe Bong!
Mick lights up a big ol' hit for Anton, who uses it to shotgun the evil Hand and hotbox it inside the puppet. The puppet's eyes turn goofy in a way too silly way, and the Hand falls out from it, defeated by the bud. But since this is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life,
The Hand doesn't breathe.
the Hand jumps towards
So
Anton, only for
how would
Jeff,
would it be affected?
in a perfect shot that pins it to Mick's chest. It shakes a little bit and then disappears in a puff of smoke.
That's it?
That's it. Debbie leaves with Randy so they can go fuck, and Anton cuts down Molly so they can face her. But after they unlock their lifts and Molly steps away, a whoops-a-daisy from Penub sends the car crashing down onto Anton. Way to harsh his high, brah. Might be a good time for you two to take off into that light now. Y'all may be wanted for manslaughter.
You coming, Anton?
No, actually, because Anton didn't die, and the movie ends with him in a body cast as Molly feeds him food and kisses. Mick and Penelope ball of glowing and tell Anton they're now his guardian angels. Well, that doesn't mean they're above messing with him.
Think we should tell him we painted that on the ceiling? Fuck it.
I keep my hands busy by counting kills on my fingers. Let's see how high I go and get to the numbers. Wait, what? No, Hand. I keep them busy. I'm not idle at all. I'm not fucking idle. Fuck.
That was funny.
I counted 16 kills in Idle Hands, a solid amount for a teen slasher. The victims consisted of 11 guys and 5 gals, a more than 2-to-1 ratio of dudes. With a runtime of 92 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 5.75 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to Dexter Holland, mostly because it's Dexter Holland. And I like how that scalping left him looking like Keith Flint. R.I.P. Keith. Dull Machete for lamest kill will go to Tiffany, who just got her neck broken. And that's it. Idle Hands are the Devil's Playground and came out in 1999 to mostly negative reviews, though I still think it has some charm. That's it for the Dead Meat Spooktober Spectacular, but I'll be back next week looking at the batshit basket case. You won't want to miss it, I promise. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count. Today I want to thank my editors, because without them, this schedule would not have been possible. Like, not even a
I must be like the only dude out there that makes his own stuff, that does all his own editing.
Thank you, Zoran.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm really the only dude out there, but
Best workers I could ever have for
everybody else I watch has multiple editors. I'm doing everything myself.
What it is without all of you. You kick so much ass.
Scripts, finding scenery, finding sets, scenery,
Thank them. All right, everyone.
the editing, the sound design, the special effects.
Be good people.
I do and some of them, I'm every other character. Now, and at one point I said that was the only thing I didn't do was I played the other characters. But I actually find that very entertaining. Not much in the stoner comedy. I don't find it hilarious. I don't find it funny. The joke is usually just, hey, let's get high. It's like a one-trick pony. The best one it's 2 for me. Half Baked and How High. I don't think I like any other ones. But that's my reaction. I'm King Sway, and I'm seeing the next one.